War. War games. War games with propaganda, guns, zombies, and other things. This is Call of Duty Thrack Ops. Reporting for duty. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to episode 17 of Call of Duty Thrack Ops. My name, of course, is Thrack. Hello. Hope you all are doing really well today. For this edition, we are covering Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Now, originally, I was not planning to cover this one in this run of the mainline entries due to its lack of a proper campaign. But the further along I went, I said to myself, I'm going to cover this game eventually anyways, so why not just do it here, right? Let's just get it out of the way so then it's not like a weird hanger-on that I have to talk about later. So, yeah, here we are, talking about Black Ops 4, released on October 12th, 2018, for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and your Windows personal computer. Now, what makes this entry stand out from all of the others previous is famously, or even infamously, this game has no campaign at all. Now, it originally was going to have a campaign called, Career Mode. It was going to be a follow-up to Black Ops 3, but for many reasons, it was scrapped. The reasons that I see are, playtesters didn't like it, the timing of the release, and I think also Activision was pushing the new mode in this game called Blackout, which I will talk about in just a little bit. So because of all of that, this game does not have a campaign. And through my time playing this game for this episode, the lack of campaign for me really hurts it, because this game now has to kind of live and die on its multiplayer. And while I think the multiplayer is perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with it necessarily, the game just comes off feeling, I don't know, I guess just hollow to me. In my time playing it, I found myself not really enjoying it as much as the others. This is probably the COD up to this point that I may have enjoyed playing the least. Even my time with the original Call of Duty was better, even though that game is very difficult and doesn't have the health regeneration and all that. It's still where the series started and historically was fascinating to play. Whereas this one, I don't know. Maybe it would have hit better at the time, but it just doesn't really hit well now. I think the issue is, despite every Call of Duty's online servers still being up and running, you can still play them to this day, really the only thing people like to play as far as the modes go is Team Deathmatch. You might get a free-for-all, you might get a search and destroy, and that's kind of about it, really. So unless you really enjoy those modes and don't mind playing against people who this is basically just what they play, is, Black Ops 4. I'm sure I played with people who've been playing this game since it came out, and this is just their daily game almost. You might not have as much of a fun time, unfortunately. Though if this game ever hits Game Pass, it might get a new boost of players, which could make it more interesting for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not big into online only games like this. I used to be. In the 360 days, I played a lot of games that had heavy online multiplayer features, and in these days occasionally I might boot one up if I'm playing with somebody or anything like that. But I don't know. I found myself enjoying the multiplayer in the game that was before this and the game that comes after this a lot more. So I don't know. Some about this one just weirdly didn't click in that regard. But they tried their best to kind of change things up a little bit. So we have this thing called Specialist HQ. So instead of like your classes, like your traditional Call of Duty classes, you have these different characters who are known as specialists. And there's 10 of them, and they all have their own separate like abilities or equipment that they can use. So everybody can push the left bumper to heal. So this game does not have the health regeneration like before, but you just have a like basically a stem pack that when it's regenerated, you can do that to get your health back, which I mean is fine. It's perfectly fine. But everybody else has like something. So say one character can throw a concussive grenade, one character can set up barbed wire, one character can throw an ammo pack on the ground, and that kind of thing, right? And you can sort of tailor like the guns and the perks like normal to these specialists to kind of create a kind of a hybrid, like create a class with the character that you're using, and then after a certain amount of time you'll get their special ability, like you can shoot a rocket launcher or pull out like an anaconda revolver and just kind of one shot everybody, but you only get 6 rounds to do it. So yeah, you have that, and I mean it's fine. There's this thing called the Specialist HQ, which has this hilarious icon on the main menu, where like a character's just staring at the camera, like open wide mouth, screaming. Like it almost looks like an AI generated thing or like a meme or something. It looks really bizarre, and yeah, you go into this Specialist HQ where you get a tutorial with each character, where Sergeant Frank Woods teaches you each character and sort of their abilities and how to use them in these kind of like guided tutorial sections in specific multiplayer maps. They're fine. They're very tedious. The fact they have them all separated is, I get why they're doing it, but each character is so limited in what they can do that's special that it almost negates the idea of having these separated tutorials. And, you know, Frank being Frank, he's just like, you know, cursing up a storm every 2 seconds, which is whatever. And then from there, you can participate in a skirmish where just about every game mode, every main multiplayer game mode, the characters get to do like a bot version. Like you can bot like Team Deathmatch or Control or Headquarters or Search and Destroy, the standard multiplayer modes. And you can, you know, set the difficulty and just mess around in them. But I mean, they're fine, but I found the bots just like, you know, incredibly easy. So I just kind of blasted my way through all of them, but it just really came off kind of monotonous and kind of dull and just really not fun for me, unfortunately. So, you know, I did the best I could with what I had, but there just really wasn't much there. But I did do them all to get the achievement, so there's that anyways. So you can, so it has, that kind of tutorial training section that you can do if you so choose. I mean, it's worth doing if you just want to play, you know, with some bots if you can't get online and play with anybody. Because, again, this game kind of lives and dies on that multiplayer. But there's also your standard, you know, your zombies mode, which it's zombies. I've said plenty of times before on this show that I'm not really a zombies guy. And it's hard to get into zombies matches in general, I've found. And usually when I get in with people, they're either just, like incredibly sweaty or unfriendly and just kind of not willing to cooperate with a new person such as myself. I've gotten like, you know, in-game messages from people telling me to fuck off pretty much. So it's hard to get into zombies, really. I mean, you have your various maps here and all that stuff. The first one is on like the Titanic, which is, you know, neat or whatever. Again, you get a little tutorial there, which is nice. I like when Zombies has the tutorial because the gameplay and sort of some of the mechanics are a little bit different here compared to the standard multiplayer. And And I mean, again, it's zombies. I really don't have much to say about that one, really. It just kind of is what it is. So, if you like zombies, go for it. I don't think people like this one as much as 3, but, it's zombies. But the big new mode in this game is Blackout. So Blackout is a battle royale, and basically serves as, the replacement for the campaign mode. I believe this was going to be in the game along with the campaign, but as I said before, they had to cut the campaign, so Blackout became the standout mode. And this game came out in 2018. And if you remember, in 2018, a little game was really starting to make waves. Still makes waves to these days, called Fortnite. Even though Fortnite started as more of like a survival game, when they got the Battle Royale, which was, I believe, 2017, if I'm doing my math right. Yeah, late 2017 or maybe early 2018, that game really blew up and became the phenomenon that it still is to this day, for better or for worse. And Black Ops 4 is sort of the first game to really showcase how the success of Fortnite completely changed gaming, where all these companies now started scrambling to have something to match this. I mean, online multiplayer had existed for years prior to this due to the success of, Quake and Unreal. And it was, fairly stable, your team deathmatch and all that stuff. But as Fortnite came in and popularized the Battle Royale, it was far from the first Battle Royale, but it was the one that really blew up the way that it did. I mean, PUBG was also successful at that time, but PUBG did fade away. I believe it's popular on mobile these days, as opposed to Fortnite, which is, I mean, Fortnite's big on mobile, but it's kind of big on everything. The success caused everybody to be like, oh shit, we need to, this is the hot new shit, we need to match it. And Call of Duty doing it, I think, is the ultimate showcase for the way it just kind of changed everything, really. And I played a little bit of It's hard to get into a Blackout match, I found, because Blackout kind of morphed into what we now know as Warzone, which replaced this and became its own app and everything like that. And Warzone is successful. I mean, I could do a whole episode on Warzone in the future if you guys are interested, because I have played quite a bit of Warzone, and I do have things to say about it. Though the one thing I can say is I think it's a lot better than this. It feels a lot more realized. I think the map is more original than this one, because this one just feels like a Fortnite clone. Like, the color gradients and just the design of the map, to me, feels maybe not indistinguishable from Fortnite, but clearly inspired by it. Whereas Warzone at least has, done the work to kind of stand out and be its own thing. So, yeah, this is your standard battle royale. You can, do it by yourself. You can get into duos or quads. And yeah, you jump out of the helicopter. This time you're in a wingsuit, which looks like Just Cause 3, which is cool. And then you do the battle royale stuff in Blackout, with the ring circling and all that other stuff. And of course, you have to loot your weapons and everything like that. You can even find some zombie loot items throughout there if you're looking. And I mean, again, it's basically first-person Fortnite without the building. So, I mean, and that's the thing. If that interests you, just go play Warzone, because Warzone is free. You can go ahead and download that, and it does a much better job than this does. This is them trying to jumping on the train while it's still there. But to give them credit, they were one of the first to get there. And I think that's part of why Warzone became as popular as it did, because it's they were able to be there early. And I think having the established name of Call of Duty helps with Blackout and later on, Warzone being the success that they were, or that they are. But I don't know, Blackout, it just feels very outdated to me. It just doesn't seem to really do anything that spectacular. It just kind of is what it is. It's Call of Duty and Fortnite being like shoved into a closet to play 7 minutes in heaven or whatever, like a spin the bottle type game, I guess. And I mean, there's really not much else to say outside of that. Like, I know this is a very short episode, and very informal. Like, there's not a lot of editing or anything like that going on because there just really isn't that much to say. I was hoping to come on here and talk for much longer than I have, but there's not much. So I can't really recommend this one. When it comes to the tier listing, this one's going to be either at the bottom or right there near the bottom because I do not desire to play this game ever again. This game, it just has a stink on it that I think some of the others don't, but it also reminds me that Treyarch have just been trying really hard to keep the Black Ops name and moniker going when, if you look at the totality of the Black Ops sub-series, how many of those games are actually good? I've only played the first 4, and I've played Black Ops 6, which we'll get to in the future. And I don't know, man. Like, they had something very special with Black Ops 1 and 2, and they've just been, like, sticking with it because that's all they have, I guess. And this, I mean, calling it Black Ops 4 just feels like they had to. Like, they could have just called this Call of Duty Online, or actually, I think Call of Duty Online already exists. Is that that might be like the Chinese-only mobile game, I think. Or yeah, the Chinese-only like PC game that was meant for the Chinese audience that released in 2012, and I believe is still going over there. It's like a free-to-play thing. Yeah, maybe I'll talk about that in the future as well. But so maybe that's why they couldn't call it that. But to have this like barely tied to the Black Ops stuff is, yeah, Frank Woods is there. They make reference to Menendez and Mason, some of the older Black Ops characters, because each specialist, I forgot to mention, there are cutscenes for each one to kind of show how they got to where they got to, but they're all very basic cutscenes that are like maybe 5 minutes apiece. So, and I wasn't going to break them down story-wise. I don't think you guys are really that interested in the backstory of these multiplayer characters. I mean, this isn't Overwatch or anything. Like, I think Overwatch does a better job of being an online-only game, but I think that's just because it's more balanced and there's more things to do in it compared to this, I think, and has just a better online community, especially at the time. So I just, I don't know, man. I don't really, I don't really like this one at all. I mean, you can still play it. You can go hunt down a physical and pop it in your Xbox, and I mean, it might still be online for PlayStation, and I have no idea. But I don't know. It's just not a very good game. Like, the entire time I was playing it, I just, I mean, a couple multiplayer matches were fine, but I just had enough. I'd had enough, and also using the logo they use for Black Ops 4, where they have like, the shield but cut into 4s. I'm like, that's not really the right fucking Roman numeral for 4, but that's really the least of this game's problems, I guess. But I don't have anything else to say because this whole podcast was meant to dissect and talk about the campaigns and how the single-player experiences of these games hold up. And so with this one, there just isn't anything there. So I know you guys are probably accustomed to an hour and a half episodes with, maybe some decent editing and all that stuff, but I just got nothing. I don't know. If you guys have more interesting things to say about Black Ops 4, please let me know. Either on the Blue Sky socials, or if you know me in Discord, you can say something there. I could always maybe throw it in there if you guys have anything to say. But yeah, I guess that's just gonna do it for this episode. Again, very short, I know, but we're on to bigger and better things, because this is really the end of an era for Call of Duty. Because with the very next game, not only is it, a reboot, but it's also a big overhaul in the presentation and the execution of Call of Duty that kind of goes to this day, really. So there will be more to say when we get to that point. So, but yeah, that's Black Ops 4, I guess. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Hope you don't mind the shorter episode. Of course, follow me on my socials. They'll be in the description of this, so you can keep up to date with whatever dumb stuff I'm posting or not posting. I don't post much. I just don't have the energy for it, but it is what it is. So until Modern Warfare 2019, bye-bye.